Hi, it's Mzi here. Last week we finished our first module, which touched more on how our purpose and passions link back to our businesses. It wasn't business as usual, but it was business with a view on how it can serve its clients. Today I'm doing an intro to Module 2. You can take this as lesson 0 of Module 2. This introduction will give you an idea of what to expect in the coming weeks while we do all the lessons for Module 2. Imagine if you could spend less time and money convincing prospects to buy your services or products. Yes, that is possible. The one thing that makes business hard is finding clients to buy from you instead of the competition. Most entrepreneurs give up because without any clients, you don't have any revenue in your business. So therefore, you can't make any money. We may think that business is made hard by the competition that is out there. That is one of the obstacles, but that is not the biggest, because you can still run a successful business in an industry that is full of competition. You can also run a successful business during an economic crisis. But how you go about doing that is when you start being strategic about how your business is run. There are ways we currently believe we can get clients, which most, when looked at a small business context, aren't effective. Number one, we're being told to target everyone. More doesn't always equals more, especially when you have less. We believe because there are 4.7 billion people in the world, the only way to be successful is to sell to all 4.7 billion of them. But this is hard to achieve, especially for a small business. As small businesses, we need to weigh the resources invested with the returns. For example, if you invest 200 Rand on a Facebook ad, you need to count how many people will come to you and buy your service. If your 200 Rand investment only brings 100 Rand of sales, then you're running at a loss of 100 Rand. So therefore, it's no use to advertise everywhere but never get the best returns. That is a waste. So therefore, you need to use what will bring you the best returns only. Point number 2, we think that excess equals selling. Excess isn't selling. Selling isn't about excess, it's about satisfying a need. When I have a need, I will happily seek the solution and buy the one that I believe would work for me. For example, I see many adverts of cooking appliances. Those brands have got access to me through these adverts. They get my attention. But since I don't have a need for cooking appliances, I don't bother to buy them. Therefore, it's not about getting attention, but making the prospect to choose to buy from you. Remember, the prospect has 3 decisions that they can make once they discover they have a need. 1, they can choose to ignore the need they have. 2, they can buy a solution from the competition. 3, they can ignore you totally. And the third myth is do what big businesses are doing. Your context as a small business is different from that of a big business. It makes sense, hindsight, to look up to the big businesses or that big company in your industry for what to do. This is good so that you may learn from their mistakes, but it is bad when you try to emulate all they do. Why? Because your context is different from theirs. You have less resources, they have plenty of resources. You are capable of less, they are capable of more. Their market is fit for them, your market is fit for you. But you are trying to take what they do and try to make it fit to your market. For example, they may be dealing with big businesses, but you cannot because you are still a small business. So you end up trying to take tactics of targeting a big business and trying to make them work for a small business. And that doesn't work. So you need to use your current clients as a guiding point for what you need to offer them and how to do so. Let's look at how the current way of doing things compares to where we want to take your business through this program. Currently, you're being told that you have more opportunities if you target everyone. Let's look at what does it take for you to do that. You need to have unlimited resources. That means unlimited money, unlimited time, and numerous number of people to be able to learn about your market's various needs, their various psychologies, and various possible solutions that you can offer them. Now, with where we want to take your business, we are saying target only specific people. What does it take to do that? You only need to know a specific target market, learn from them, learn how to serve them better, and only then you can spread out, applying the lessons that you've learned from your specific target market into bigger markets. The whole thinking is that you start small and grow big. Therefore, you spend less money and use less resources. Number two, currently you're being told market to everyone. Let's look at what it takes for you to do that. You need to have the capabilities to access everyone, meaning like you need to have more money, more time, and more people in order for you to do that. But with where we want to take your business, we're saying sell only to those who are ready to buy. And for those who aren't ready to buy, you need to teach them so that you can get them to the point where they're ready to buy. So let's look at what does it take for you to do that. You need to understand the stages of behavior change of your prospects. We will give you those stages later during the lessons. But it is wasted time and money for you to try to convince someone who isn't willing to buy. Rather invest that time into teaching them, which will lead them to buying. Some people don't buy because they don't want the service or the product. They just don't buy because they are not ready to buy. Number three, currently you're being told to convince everyone to buy from you. Let's look at what it takes. You will need to have the money to pay for advertising and also money to pay for the sales personnel who will go out there, whether it's a house or a company, and try to convince those people to buy your product or service. That's a lot of money. But with where we want to take your business, we're saying know who is ready to buy and who isn't. Because knowing the difference will save you a lot of money and will save you a lot of time. Let's look at what it takes for you to get to that stage. Know what to offer those who are ready to buy and what to offer those who aren't ready to buy. Obviously, for those who are ready to buy, you offer them a product. But those who aren't ready to buy, you teach them about your product. You need to do that so that when they become ready, you will be the first option for them to buy the solution from. That's what we need to work towards. Number four, sell how everyone is selling. Let's look at what does it take for you to do that. Firstly, you need to follow the strategies that everyone is following, and you need to follow them simply because everyone is doing them. You will also need to have the resources that everybody has, and at the same time have the same type of clients that everybody has. This kills innovation, and competition becomes fierce only on the basis of laziness. But with where we want to take your business, we want you to know your client better so that you can sell to them better. We don't say go target everyone for the sake of everybody is doing it, but we want you to put the client as the core of your business. When you put the client at the core of your business, you will get to know them better. Therefore, what you do and how you do will be determined by what they need and not what the competition does. In the coming lessons, we will look at how you can go about achieving the picture we want for your business. So in the coming lessons, we would look at who to target, but you need to be strategic on who you're targeting. Work towards getting the best out of the resources you currently have. On this lesson, we will look at who you can target, and spoiler alert, it's not everyone. We do this so that you know the options of target markets you have. Targeting everyone isn't strategic. You need to set up your own strategy on who you're going to serve. And number two, we're going to teach you how to create your niche market. Knowing your clients is very important. So therefore, you need to learn how to serve them better and offer them a product and service they can appreciate so that they can be loyal. After you know the options you have, then you will choose which market you will start with serving. You will learn how to go about choosing your first market. We call it the first market because you don't need to stop there. You can always grow out, but at the beginning, it's good to start small so that you can be the best at that with the current resources that you have, so that you don't strain yourself out. And the third bit is how can you differentiate your product or service? Differentiating your product or service from the competition is very important, and that will help you attract those that have the need, and they will choose to buy that solution from you. After choosing your market, then you need to understand their needs. You need to find out what their needs are. There will be those little different needs in comparison to the general public because they may relate to their personality, they may relate to location, they may relate to industry. You need to use those little different needs to offer them something special that your competition isn't. Then, number four, we look at how you can revise your product or offering. With this, you are not changing your product, you are simply just adding or removing things that are not relevant to this niche market that you've chosen. So your product is never final. You will need to keep up with the changing needs of your market because they always change. So after you've discovered those little needs, you will add or update your product or service to cater to those needs, and we will show you how you can go about doing that in the coming lessons. So imagine if you could spend less time and money to convince people to buy your service. By the end of this module, we know that you would have achieved that. Imagine what that can do for your business. You will need a big marketing budget when you're trying to market your small business like a big company. But when you're strategic about your marketing, you will need way less just to help your business take the next step to success. I would also like to share some principles with you, and these are principles that we follow and also encourage you to begin adapting into your business as we dive into module 2. Like one of them is no fear. Don't use fear to make your clients to buy into what you're selling. This is not the kingdom. This is not the kingdom way, and by kingdom way I mean God's kingdom. Therefore, we're not going to do something because every business is doing it. We follow kingdom principles. Instead of telling them of the negative that may occur if they don't use a product, tell them of the positive that may occur. That's how you don't use fear to drive sales. And the second principle is serve clients. We touched on this on the first module, and we said as an entrepreneur, don't be just about selling, but love your client like you love yourself. Care for them and put them first. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we become too in love with our products and we focus a lot on what the customer will give us rather than how we can make their lives better. And the principle number 3 is solve a bigger need. Our businesses shouldn't be separate from the good we want to bring in the world. Actually, running a business is the best way to do so because you're able to have a bigger impact. So see your business as a way of solving that bigger need that you're passionate about. This is why we need to start businesses, to come up with solutions that bring dignity unto God's people. So go through these principles as often as you can, know them by heart, but please try them at all times to apply them in your business because these are really, really important. The only thing that will make our businesses different from the world's businesses is how we run our businesses. We can't call ourselves Christians and different, but run our businesses in a similar manner as how the world is running our business. So, we're done with the intro to module 2. I'll see you next week for lesson 1 of module 2. Thank you.